You're listening to Play, Transform, Better. This is where we help business leaders navigate transformation, technology, and change at scale. In today's Boardroom Transformation Talk, we'll take a hard look at why traditional leadership models are breaking and how to lead beyond the playbook. Now let's join your hosts.
Welcome. You're probably listening because you're right there at the sharp end of leadership, navigating, everything AI is throwing at us. And you likely feel that the old ways of leading, maybe they just don't quite cut it anymore. So today, in this deep dive, our mission is pretty clear. Let's figure out why those traditional leadership models seem to be faltering in today's business world, and what needs to change for companies to actually thrive. We'll look at some modern management ideas, some evolving business practices. Let's jump in.
It really is striking, isn't it? That gap between the kind of management thinking that dominated for, generations.
Yeah.
And what's needed now in this, AI-driven age. We're essentially moving from ideas born in the Industrial Revolution to needing a mindset that works for algorithms and, frankly, exponential change.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that legacy a bit. We're talking Frederick Taylor, Taylorism, that whole system. Breaking work down, strict hierarchies, tight control, all aiming for maximum efficiency. And it worked. I mean, it delivered huge productivity gains back then.
Oh, absolutely. Taylor's scientific management, it was crucial for optimizing factories, early 20th century stuff. That focus on standardization, measuring output, it definitely boosted efficiency. But the limitation that's really glaring today is that it kind of treated human creativity as just another predictable input. It unintentionally squashed the autonomy, the ingenuity that we now see as critical. So the efficiency Taylor aimed for, ironically, created a kind of systemic inefficiency in using human potential today, where being adaptable is often more valuable than just predictable output.
And that really hits the core tension now, doesn't it? In a world that demands constant innovation, quick adaptation, that old command and control structure, it feels like it's actively getting in the way. It seems to create organizational drag, a resistance to the very things defining our time: AI, digital transformation, intense competition.
Yeah.
It's not about dismissing Taylor's historical role, obviously, but sticking rigidly to those models now.
Well, as our sources suggest, it's driving companies to irrelevance. Exactly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, the flaws in Taylorism become even clearer. Information, ideas, they mostly flowed top-down. It often missed the valuable insights from people on the ground, the intelligence you really need to navigate the complexity and speed we face today. Which brings us naturally to the need for modernization, to thinkers like Professor Hamill.
Right. Professor Gary Hamill, Management 2.0. That feels like a really direct response to the limits we were just talking about. It pushes for agility, resilience, and fundamentally empowering the workforce. And it seems like that really clicks with younger generations, doesn't it? People looking for purpose, for some autonomy, which those traditional models didn't really offer.
Well, what's interesting is the basic philosophical shift, Management 2.0 isn't just about new software or process tweaks. It's about admitting that in a complex, fast-changing world, you actually get better results with distributed intelligence, with decentralized decisions, rather than relying solely on the top of the pyramid. Hair is a fascinating example here.
Yes, Hair. Hair, the appliance giant, that basically, it broke itself up into thousands of small self-managing teams, didn't they? These microenterprises.
Yeah.
Such a powerful example of empowerment, employees acting almost like entrepreneurs within the company. That structure must breed a pretty amazing culture of innovation, right? Because Hare's move wasn't just about getting new ideas. It was about cutting down the time lag, wasn't it? Between seeing an opportunity and actually doing something about it. That seems vital now with AI.
It does. By pushing decisions down to those smaller units, Hare created this environment where ideas can pop up and get tested much faster. That entrepreneurial spirit, but spread throughout the organization, that's a serious competitive edge today. And it's important to note, this isn't just for tech companies.
Exactly. Look at Buurtzorg, the Dutch home care group, using self-managed nursing teams. That one really caught my eye because healthcare often seems so traditional, so structured. But by empowering nurses to organize their own work, make decisions, they saw huge jumps in employee satisfaction and patient care quality. It really shows these ideas, empowerment, distributed decisions, they can work across all sorts of sectors.
And that evolution naturally connects to another big shift in modern management. Moving past just focusing on shareholder value, Professor Michael Porter's work on stakeholder capitalism and his framework, Creating Shared Value, CSV, really highlights this.
Yeah, Porter's argument is that leading companies now get that they need to think broader, Consider employees, customers, communities, the environment, not just shareholders. And his CSV idea makes a strong case that tackling social and environmental issues isn't just charity. It can actually open up new ways to succeed economically. It's not profit versus purpose, it's finding the link between them.
Precisely. And you see companies like Unilever and Patagonia really putting this into action. Unilever's Sustainable Living Plan, that's a huge corporation, integrating sustainability right into its core strategy. And they see benefits in brand reputation, customer loyalty, even employee engagement.
And Patagonia, their whole identity is built around environmental commitment. It's deep. That creates an incredibly strong, purpose-driven brand that obviously resonates with certain consumers. And I bet it makes them a magnet for talent, too, people who want more than just a paycheck. These aren't just PR stunts, are they? They seem like real drivers of long-term business value.
They really are, yeah. These companies show that aligning profit and purpose can create this positive feedback loop, making them stronger and more resilient overall. So, flip side, what happens if companies don't make these kinds of shifts? What are the risks of just stagnating?
Well, the sources we looked at are pretty clear on that. Big problems attracting talent, especially younger, skilled people, crucial in the AI era. You mentioned that Deloitte survey, over 70% of millennials and Gen Z looking at a company's social and environmental impact when deciding where to work. That's a huge warning sign for businesses stuck in old ways.
It is. And it's not just getting them in the door, it's keeping them. Employees who feel aligned with the company's values, who feel their work matters beyond the bottom line. They're likely to be more engaged, more motivated, and stick around longer. Plus, as we touched on, customer expectations are changing too.
Absolutely. Today's consumers, especially younger ones, they're digging deeper. They want transparency, accountability. They're actively choosing brands that show a real commitment to doing good socially and environmentally. Companies ignoring that risk just being, well, left behind by competitors who are tuned in.
And maybe the most critical point for our discussion today, those rigid top-down management structures, they seriously hamper agility, adaptability. These organizations often struggle to really embrace and use disruptive tech like AI effectively. They find it hard to innovate, hard to respond quickly to market shifts. And that lack of nimbleness, ultimately, it could threaten their very survival long term.
Okay, so for the senior leaders listening, the ones maybe thinking, right, we need to change, what are some practical first steps? How do you start this kind of transformation?
Well, based on what we've seen, there are a few key actions. First, moving to a genuine, purpose-driven model. Clearly defining a company mission that goes beyond just profit. Think about Microsoft's shift. Empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. That's powerful for engagement and attracting talent.
Right, moving from just products to a bigger why. And then you mentioned empowering employees, getting away from command and control, building trust, autonomy. Netflix is often cited here, right? Their freedom and responsibility culture. It seems key to how they stay agile and creative.
Exactly. Giving people the room, the resources, the trust to make decisions and innovate, it's not optional anymore, it's essential. Another big one is adopting agile management practices, moving from those slow, rigid hierarchies to more flexible, collaborative setups. Think about ING Bank reorganizing into agile squads and tribes. It's a real-world case of speeding up product development, becoming more responsive.
And obviously embracing sustainability and stakeholder focus, really weaving it into the business fabric. Like IKEA aiming to be climate positive by 2030. That doesn't just help the planet, it builds a loyal customer base that cares about those things.
And finally, maybe underpinning all of this is measuring what matters. As Digitopia points out, you need clear, transparent metrics tied to your purpose, your sustainability goals, your management changes. That's how you ensure accountability and show you're serious about it.
So it seems pretty clear then. As we navigate this era, especially with AI accelerating everything, just clinging to old industrial age management styles, it's just not going to work. We've talked about the limits of Taylorism now, the potential in Management 2.0, and this growing need for stakeholder capitalism. These aren't just trends, are they? They feel like fundamental shifts in how successful, sustainable businesses need to operate.
Indeed. The transformation we're discussing, it's not just a nice to have for progressive companies. It really feels like a core requirement for lasting success and relevance in a business world being reshaped by agility, by purpose, and by a broader sense of responsibility.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, thinking about leadership's evolution and AI's huge impact, here's a final thought, a question really for you listening, especially those in boardrooms guiding organizations. What fundamental assumptions about leadership itself, about organizational structure, maybe even about the core purpose of a company? What assumptions must boards unlearn? What do they need to let go of to effectively steer their companies towards relevance, towards success in this fast-moving AI-powered future? It's definitely something worth reflecting on as we all navigate this ongoing journey of change, a journey that really needs to be both purposeful and, as you said, rigorously measured.